Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, Dave.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Very well. You can hear me?
I certainly can, mate. Sanctuary Cove.
Beautiful behind me. I always wonder when I see boats of that size, what do they do for work? That's always my question.
Well, we got your bill last month. They're probably real estate trainers.
I don't think so. I think they're in the pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah. I went up to the boat show because that's my dream, mate. If I won money one day, it would be to buy a big boat. I went up to the boat show and they're just so stunning. I'm embarrassed, but most of them I won't even walk on because it's a impossible dream.
There you go. Now, are you able to make me the host?
I'm not good at that stuff.
Alan Priest gave me a call yesterday.
What I'll do, Bluesy, you there, buddy? Or Batesy?
He's just on the phone.
Oh, that's all right. Alison, can you just get Taylor to make Lee the host, please?
Yeah.
Mr. Greg Beats.
Yeah. I only got half of his. I'm on the iPhone. I need the iPad to get Batesy in. Here we go. Just letting everyone in, mate. Letting everyone in.
No worries.
Model shot from Brendan. They're all coming on, mate. They're all coming on.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Hey, bros. I'll see you in a bit, buddy.
Hey, Dave.
See you in a bit, buddy. See you in a bit. Yeah.
Thanks.
And for the Northern Rivers gang, Lee's going to try and, I think next week you spoke about it, Lee, popping down, probably the easiest to go to Evans Head because he's in Byron. And then you might do a little private session with the Northern Rivers people next. I think you're talking next week, aren't you, Lee?
Yeah, next Tuesday I'm in that area. So that could be a really good time to pop in. If we can make that work time-wise, that would be great.
Yeah, you let us know a time and I'll get Taylor to organise it with the other gang. That'd be incredible.
Cool. And beautiful.
All right, well, we're going to just kick it off. I think I spoke to Lee this morning about today's session and we're going to talk again about a changing market. The one thing I said to Lee is what I'm worried about is that the more we talk about a changing market, we get into a negative headspace. What I said to Lee is I'm just so excited in this market because all the training that we've done over the last 2 years makes us ready for this market. And this is where you can really show your skill set and really be quite dominant in this type of marketplace. And to us, it's not necessarily what the market's doing going up or down. We want turnover. And I've spoken about there's always a little bit of a market where it slows, the turnover does slow down. But when it gets into that market, I usually find, especially a declining market, we're going to see turnover turn up, I believe. So it's going to be a good time for real estate in the next few months. What do you think, Lee?
100%. Nothing you and I mentioned this morning was, we spent 3 years preparing for this moment. This is the grand final coming up where other people haven't done the work, they haven't done the training, they haven't done the study. And it really shows in a time like now of what's available to a skills-based agent. And probably one of the greatest, most powerful things I want to talk about today is this is a good time to put your fees up because people need a great agent at this time and they'll pay that premium to have someone represent them. So there's lots of good things that come out of this learning time we're about to go through.
And also the media is doing a massive favor at the moment. Like the media is doing our vendor meetings for us, all the press, the RBA and everything like that to make it pretty easy to have an honest conversation with a vendor. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to leave you in the capable hands of Lee. Let us know a time on Tuesday and I'll tell the whole Northern Rivers to get over to Evans Head. Thank you very much for that and have a good sesh, guys.
My pleasure. Thank you. Good morning, everybody, and great to be with you. I'm at Sanctuary Cove today and got a leadership event that I'm speaking at, so you can hence the background behind me. I was just saying to Dave, you look at those massive big boats behind me and think, what do they do for work? Because that must be some job that they've got. But let's get into it. I do want to speak about selling real estate in a changed market or a changing market. I also had the opportunity to work with Adrian Bow yesterday. We were on a video together. And this seems to be the hottest topic in town at the moment. And everyone's got different views on it. And I'm going to take you through my steps through that today of what you can do. Because I do agree with Dave. This can be an exciting time if you can keep your own mind together and actually play it back a little bit to basics. And I'll give you some context around that. Finding fast alignment with the marketplace with your owners right now is really every conversation that you want to be having. You can't just watch what the marketplace was doing and then take a view of, okay, but it'll correct itself and so forth. Every single moment right now counts. And I think we've got to get really, really good at our vendor conversations. So what I've done today, prepared a slideshow framework that I want to work with you on. That wouldn't be unusual for me to do that. But in the last few weeks, I've done a lot of compressed work where people have had specific parts of the equation they want answered. And I want to dispatch that information to you straight away as a follow-on from this session. So firstly, could you grab your phones? And if you're on your phone, don't grab it. If you're driving, definitely don't grab it. But these links will be available to you. I'm going to share my screen and take you into what I mean. But I've got some really important text backs for you that we're going to be using through this session. So let me get started on that. And here we go. Okay, so firstly, there's people still coming into the waiting room, so let me click those in. Find, list, communicate, and sell is what we do in our life together. Everything I've taken you through the complete salesperson course model falls into these 4 chapters. But in a changing market, they all become important. Find becomes really important, that you are finding people that have a genuine reason to move. So for example, I'm about to put a property on the market myself. And technically, with everything going on around you, you think, why would you do that? I don't care about all the stuff going on around me. We have a different reason for releasing that asset at this time. And that's our personal, real reason why we're going to do it. I'm not going to tell you, as a potential seller, putting all the photos together and all the information that's got to go on, and my agents there saying, oh, you know, things have come back a little bit. Mate, hang in there, can you? Because it's definitely going to be sold. Why? Because I've got a definite reason to sell it. We've got something else we're doing. So my first thing in find is, when you are prospecting for future business out there, let's make sure you are finding people with a real reason. And that could be a job relocation. It could be that they found the perfect downsizing townhouse, whatever it is. Maybe they've got more babies on the way and they're in a 1-bedder or a 2-bedder and they need to move on. But finding people the real reason becomes a question-based conversation. And no doubt about it, you would have picked this up from Adrian's session as well. Getting better at your conversations right now becomes everything. So when you are meeting with a potential seller and they're asking, you know, how's the market? The market's fantastic for those that want to release their property and move on to the next opportunity. We've had a lot of owners sell for slightly less, but pay far less on where they're going to. And they've actually done very well in this time. But how about yourself? Why have you chosen now to sell? What is your current situation? It's these questions that we've been learning throughout the year. Actually, we learn them in a listing perspective, but they're actually more of a prospecting technique now that you'll be using. So when I look at find, first couple of tips, find people with real reasons to sell and get into that story. Get right into, so why now? And where would you be off to? And when would you like to be there? And have you given thought to? Because we are an advisory board at all times of the marketplace. But remember, from our listing sessions previous, interview the owner, which is where list comes in. Now, communicate, I'm only going to touch upon because I've got a whole session, or my session or tips around that is about the vendor management process and having that, 10 seconds of courage to have the deep conversations with an owner that maybe are uncomfortable, but they become comfortable as we get closer to selling. And then sell itself. I've got some great information going on in the marketplace that I'll share with you in a moment. So our text backs that we're going to be going through, And let me just hop onto that. Okay. In line with that, our business plan mind map that you know very, very well. Every one of us has got to generate business, find out ways of marketing you, follow up for future business. And so many of you now are doing so well with your price updates, connected to the community. You know, we check in on your dashboards, phenomenal results. Getting yes without appraisal. The other word for appraisal is assessment. And then your presentation and selling plan. In the previous sessions on that, we did talk about interviewing the owner, using a rollout plan. I want to give you another tip that I just released out to a couple of top performing agents that is slightly different to what you're doing at the moment. Just one quick tip. It's called compartmentalization of the content on the tour, or I'll make it simple for you, tour moments. Quite often when we are, if everyone can go on mute there, we've got a few people not on mute. If we could go on mute, that'd be wonderful. Okay, and I'll go back to where I am. So, beautiful. Everyone's back with me. Tremendous. Okay, it's got to get that back up for us. And there we go. Everyone can see the mind map. Tremendous. So usually when you're presenting, you do the tour around the home. You might chat about live mode, sell mode or something. And then you come back to where you're presenting and you spend half an hour, 40 minutes presenting. Maybe change that up a little. And when you've got your segments of conversation that you want to have, such as live mode, sell mode. As you walk around the property, think, I might do live mode, sell mode over there. As I get into that back part of the home, I'm going to do staged marketing. And I would love you to consider doing content on the fly, or what we call tour moments. You're touring around the home and you're there and you say, Greg, as I stand in this part of the home, I can see this is like the 80% area where you would spend 80% of your time. Is that correct? And when I show a buyer through, I'm going to bring them here first and say, how does it feel? Because one thing I've learned from selling a lot of real estate is by staging the presentation of the home, we can get a better reaction to their buyer engagement level, which is why we use stage marketing. Let me explain this to you. But I'm doing that while I'm standing up and chatting. And the reason I'm doing that, everyone, or the reason I'm recommending this to you is when you're on a tour like that and it breaks the eye contact, which is very, very powerful, you also get the chance to have their attention and it's not that intense, and then you can move on to the next part. But when you go to sit down, that can be a very compressed time frame now. And that type of presentation really brings in the vendor involvement where they say, this agent was different. Really liked it, the points they made when we were walking around the home. They spent more time walking around the home, but all you have done is use some of your presentation content while walking on the tour. Does that make sense, everyone? And it's going to make them feel, I don't know if you've ever had an owner fall asleep in front of you, but it's pretty full on when an agent is, let me come back to my main screen there. Beautiful. When an agent's presenting to you for an hour, then the next agent presents to you for an hour, that can be intense. So it works out well to break that up into those situations, but you've got to know your content that you'll be using along the way. All good? Any questions on that part of what I've just said? We're all good. We're all clear. We're all safe. Great. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen and get your phones ready because we have some text backable moments. Okay. The first one that I want you to do a text back to, if you're not doing it already, is text Lee, that is me, this is me, C, to 0429 272 009. And for those of you that are missing that, this is the weekly podcast that comes out every Thursday. So at 10 o'clock today, the next one will be released. In the last couple of weeks, Tom Panos has been on, Matt Steinwade's been on, Danny Grant's been on, and we're doing these short, sharp 10-minute tips. Now, the reason I need you listening to that more than anyone is you are partly the reason of some of those tips where I'm thinking in sequence and there's that beautiful word again, sequence of things we need to know in short, sharp moments. And that could be, as I've just said today, we're doing the tour, do content as tour moments. It could be overcoming the objection, getting those high fees. But that little library is more important to you than anybody else, because you can scroll back through and you go, I know what live mode, sell mode is. I'm just going to listen to that short, sharp tip. And it's a great way of you keeping fit, business fitness in this time of a changing market, because you guys are really well trained. You probably get more access to more training than anyone. But the question is, do you activate it? Do you re-stimulate yourself on it? Otherwise, you can lose it very quickly. The next one I want you to text is claiming doors. I've now created a very short little video clip for you and 5 phone calls that you can perform to generate more business in the marketplace. And I've picked the top 5 tribes of who you get the price update out to and what conversation you have with them. I've changed those scripts and dialogues, or words and concepts, for a better use of terminology in the last few weeks. And I would love you to go through those. Now, that little training piece, 10 minutes tops, and you're going to be able to listen to the live phone calls and see what claiming doors is. But right now is a very, very important time for you to be claiming your doors back throughout the marketplace, as we're going to see some agents leave the industry soon, very fast, as I think it's all too hard. I'm going to move on to something else. So you've got the podcasts, you've got claiming doors. The next one I want you to text, and this is all incredible homework for you, is AC. Now, AC stands for auction craft. The title's wrong. It sounds like it's something about auctioneering. It's got nothing to do with auctioneering. It's actually to do with one of the most famous audios ever recorded by Danny Grant. And Danny Grant is an amazing real estate sales professional and trainer. And he was on a very important webinar with me last week as well. But auction craft is purely about vendor conversations. And we're talking world-class conversations in this particular audio. It's one of the most famous audios ever recorded on the Real Estate Hot Topics program, about going for that second and third question with the owner. And when the owner says, oh, it's early days, how we change and react to that. Because week 1 is like 25% of our campaign time that we've invested in already. And we need to align early. And you'll find his conversations have got a lot of great friction, if you like. And I use the word great friction because he's not scared to have those level 3 conversations without offending the owner in any way. That is not something we would ever want to do. But I've picked that audio as it's a brilliant alignment for you guys where we are in the marketplace. Then the last one, everyone is raving at the moment over this one. You'll love this. This is a webinar we did last Friday. Everyone is going nuts over this webinar. And it's about our topic today, selling in a changing market. So if you text the word not sold, which is a pretty interesting text back, if you've got something out there not sold, the answer is going to be within this particular program. That's going to help you enormously to go through that. Danny Grant's on that. And I tell you who is on that is Paul McAllister. Now, let me just come off slide there for a moment and back on the screen. Okay, Paul McAllister is an agent down not too far from you, just past of Newcastle, on the outside of it there. And Paul's been on the same journey as you. He's been right through the complete salesperson course over the last 15 years, running a nice little EBU that's just cracked the 10 deals a month mark. But he's also going through a situation where that changing of market is like, well, we can't just be like everybody else, because the other agents are coming to a time that they haven't sold it. The owner's saying, well, what's your plan now? They don't have a plan. And even in the listing presentation, they're speaking a little bit out of sync. That's 3 to 5 months ago. Now, Paul McAllister from Altitude Real Estate went and did the sell training that you guys did with me last time, probably about 4 or 5 months ahead of you. And he wasn't a believer in that at all. He was like, yeah, no, this won't change anything. Everything will be fine. We'll move on. Right now, in technique, I want to share with you how he's getting offers from the marketplace and getting that vendor alignment fast. So firstly, he took that step to do some timed auctions. Now, you know what a timed auction is. A lot of you have been doing those on the site, which is great. Most of you haven't. And last time I was with you, I had that conversation of this is where we need to be for the future. This is the future of selling. The timing plays a large part of it because it gives us an end game, a grand final. But I want to share with you what he's doing in the middle of this. So property goes live to the market. He's done everything in our setup, all good, and the property's live. And it's live on the site, which is the purchasing site where you can make an offer or follow it. You guys know how that works. But then he's working his best buyers, and he shares in that little webinar that you're going to watch. He said, Lee, we were making a mistake. We were putting them on a timed auction and just expecting they turn up and make an offer, or as in a normal auction, right at the very last minute, everyone will start bidding. That was our mistake. I said, so what are you doing now? He said, well, I'll show someone the property and take them through, and they'll say, look, we really, really like it. Great. Well, as you know, this is a timed auction. It finishes in 2 weeks' time. Some of the buyers have been saying, we can't wait 2 weeks. Our home loan approval is going to run out. We need to do something now. Everyone with me so far? Everyone's with me. Give me a thumbs up if you're with me. Cool. Okay. Stay with the story. It's really, really important. So the buyer's saying, I can't wait 2 weeks or 3 weeks. All good. So what if we could make this available to you straight away? How does that work? Well, you said you wanted to make an offer. What would you pay? Oh, we'd pay 1.1 for it. Okay. There's the QR code. Just register yourself now. I'm going to approve you and lock that in. Well, aren't you going to go and see the owner? This is how we notify the owner. The owner gets notified straight away. Now, I think you're on the lighter side of where the price could be, but lock in your offer, because if you don't, you won't be notified of the other offers or if we bring it forward. Now, I'll go and speak to the owner now you've registered your offer. And we may bring this back that the timed auction ends tomorrow afternoon. Now, there's 3 other people that are still bidding, as you can see. But if we bring it back till tomorrow afternoon at 5 o'clock, you'll all be notified and you'll need to put your best foot forward in order to be the owner of the property. And as you know, you've entered into auction conditions. I've accepted you as a bidder. The owner has been notified of your offer or your bid. But tomorrow, I'll be announcing the new date. We're not going to wait 2 weeks. The owner wants to get it sold as well. So that's where we're doing. And he's using the timed auction to leverage the offers. So you want to buy it? There's the code. Buy it. Put your offer in now. I'll accept you right now. But as soon as you say I'm going to bring it back till tomorrow or the day after, it's game on. And it's accelerating the sales process. In my entire time in real estate, I've never, ever seen that ability that we can control a sale so well. He gives another example. He said, Lee, I had another one where unusual style property, got 3 buyers that will be the right buyers for it. The owner doesn't want to go to a normal auction. So all we did, we put it live on the site that night, sent the link out to those 3 buyers and said, the property's on a timed auction for 3 days. It's right within your buying range. Happy to get you through and we'll take it from there. Now, you can move it out 2 weeks, 1 week. It's irrelevant. But you can actually just send that link to the people that are actually going to buy it because it is a buying site. But seeing Paul, non-believer, private treaty his whole life, regional Australia, flip it over has been amazing. But I tell you what he's done in the flip over as well. And I want you to do this. I thought it was a really good idea. And actually, this came up with Brendan as another idea when I was interviewing him as well. But I'll go to Paul first. Paul goes into the listing conversation and doesn't say he's using Auction Now or anything like that. He doesn't do that. What he does is say, we've got our own selling platform where we can just send that link direct to the buyers who are ready to buy. They have to register. And then we get them bidding, you get notified, and we get to make a choice if we're going to sell it to them or not. But not everybody knows about it. Just the buyers with the money is who we're using. So there's no one on your lawn. It's purely a very discreet selling system, but we have our own selling platform. And it's such a powerful thing when you say to the owner, this is one I've got going at the moment, scan the QR code. You get the owner to scan the QR code and the owner goes, oh, right. So this is saying you can follow it or you can bid. but nobody else would know about it unless I gave them that link or I released it on the portal. Would you like me to put a private style auction in place just for the buyers with the money? We'll find out their buyer engagement level to see where we should be or what we should do. And the owners absolutely love it. Question for my ninjas out there. Why do the owners love it? What's the driver? Someone talk to me.
Is it the control that they get?
Good one. Control's part of it, Harry. That's a very, very good one. But it's also discretion. When an owner thinks they're going to be publicly humiliated that their home isn't going to sell, and everyone says, oh, your place didn't sell, this one's been around a while, that can be a blockage to our sale. What if there was none of that? What if you were able to say, we've got 5 buyers right now who are in that range? It's my strong suggestion that in our stage 1 campaign, we get them to engage and make an offer. That offer will give you an indication of value, and you can then decide if you want to release to a full campaign or not, or you could actually release the asset and sell it. And as many owners are doing right now, get ahead of this marketplace we're in. Does that make sense, everyone? It's a different conversation, but I tell you what, it's a powerful conversation. So quite a few tech specs there for you for your follow-on audio learning, but that not sold really needs you to go through that, as it's a brilliant way of understanding the psychology of a great agent in these times. And I said that at the beginning, we're coming into a skills-based market. Your owners right now need a brilliant sales professional, not an agent who takes orders and a marketing rep. They're a penny a dozen. They're 1%. Now, they need someone who's going to work the marketplace with different creative techniques to get a result. And if ever before, now is the time to get creative with the marketing. This is not a time to undermarket. We need incredible marketing, but using your stage marketing campaign, the weight of the big promotion can come at a later date. But getting that across becomes a very important conversation. Is there any questions from anyone at this time from what I've covered so far? Rosie, you're good? You're with us? No? Any other questions?
Yep.
Harry?
Just taking away from the timed auction, is there any other key things that you can try using leverage off for those offers, especially early on in the campaign?
Great point. So one, you've got the followers, which is your future business, but those offers that are coming in early in a campaign need to be presented slightly different today. And you need to stage the offer. Staging the offer is not that traditional part of real estate where people did the wrong thing and said the things that didn't exist. Staging the offer is identification of the person, where they're from, what they loved, they may offer. So, and it sounds really stepped, but it's very important. So I'm dealing with my owner, Helen, and I say, Helen, I've had this lady come through called Rosie. And Rosie has showed incredible interest in the property. She loved it because, and they're moving up from, and they haven't made an offer yet, but I've got a really good feeling about this particular purchaser. Whereas a lot of the other buyers that I've shown through are telling me there's different properties available at lower prices with other agents, and that may have an ensuite or that extra space. But this person is showing the right interest, in my opinion. I don't have an offer from them, but I'll let you know how we go. So suddenly the owner then says to me 3 days later, what's going on with Rosie? I've spoke to her again today. She's coming through Wednesday afternoon at 4:30, and she's bringing some family members with her. So if it's okay, if we can have the property showcased perfectly, big opportunity for me to get the family through, especially on a weekday like that, and I'll let you know how we go. That inspection happens, all good. Look, Rosie's asked to see the contract, and her solicitor's got some questions that I'm answering at the moment. I still don't have an offer, but if we do get an offer, I think this is the right engagement of person we're looking for. So instead of saying, got an offer and it's this, it's the opposite of that. You're playing those key offers out and staging the emotion around them so that when the owner actually knows when it comes in, this is a real deal, a real offer, that is the way you leverage off that. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again.
Thanks
Just
for that.
because you all love slides. And here we go. Okay, quick framework for you. When we look at mastering the vendor management process or the customer process, it's all about trust, speed of trust, professional trust. And how do we get that? Transparency, great communication, and a well-informed owner is easy to manage. Now, suddenly promotions become important. And let me explain this to you. A promotion is, hi, Helen, I'm about to send out a text message to 35 buyers who've made active offers of properties at your range and above. I'm enticing them to come and see the property before it's launched on realestate.com, but just letting you know, I'm doing that at the moment. Now, a promotion is the new word for advertising. And for those of you that have been around a long period of time, it was week 1 of ads, week 2 of ads, week 3 of ads, and on the 4th week, you try and reduce it. Well, you could do 7 promotions this week because you've got your just listed, you just sold, well, not just sold. You've got people that you're targeting that live around the property, and becomes a very powerful way of pulling that together. Then we've got our questions that we're asking the owner. And when we say questions, the important part about that is communications and process. Reporting. Your Ignite app has got great reporting. You can do a price update of a property that's sold. So let's say there's a competing property to one of your properties. Do a price update on the house that's just sold and pick some very interesting surrounding sales for that, which mathematically resulted in that one. That helps you with your pricing modifications. Defining moments. Every owner goes through defining moments. One of those is when the first people come through. Be careful of this. Sometimes an owner, we've come out of a market where they're very cocky and, you know, everybody loves my house and people are going to be competing. Whereas now we may have one buyer that is competing against the owner. And what I mean by that is the owner can always say no and remain the owner of the property. However, what's important then is the facts and evidence that we give. But a defining moment could also be when it goes live on the internet, when the signboard goes up, when the first week of people are coming through. And you want to have a sequence of conversations that support you through that time so you can actually get to the truth. Now, I love this little grid, but I love grids where I say, how am I in professional trust? Do I report back on my promotions? Do I ask great questions of the owner? Is my communication process continuous, or is it the boring old report on a Monday? Pricing modifications. Do I say to the owner, I want to leave the price where it is right now, but our next price would be. And I make the defining moments date-based. When I say on the 12th, that means we've been on the market X amount of time, and our next price should start to get some engagement with our next purchasing group. The facts at the moment of the marketplace are we've had 35 parties inspect your home. We've had 135 internet inspections on your home. And we're starting to get to the truth where the price is going to be sitting, but I'll let you know as I get a stronger figure of the engagement level for our next price we should go to the market. But I'm actually bouncing through this chart as part of my technique. And again, you'll get today's slides as part of what we do. Okay, let me give you some really important tips. Just got people joining us again. Number 1, I'm going to give you 10 tips. Love 10s, as you know. Live up to the presentation process that won the vendor's decision. Now, sometimes we do this great listing presentation that's wonderful, but then we go to market and we don't live up to that. And I think more than ever now, the owner's going to be watching of, you know, you said you were going to do this, did you do it? You said you were going to do that, but you haven't got that back to me. Whatever you're promising in that rollout plan and the incredible database and the incredible team that you are, live up to the promise. Otherwise, it's going to catch you out as we move through into the next part of it. Now, your selling plan that you've got all beautifully typeset up was this. We're going on a journey. There's a start, launch, and sold. There's a pre-launch and the post-launch. The stages are our prep and design. We do so much work, our VIP inspections. So you imagine that you don't even do the VIP inspections. Yet you said to them you'd be doing VIP inspections. The digital inspections, when we get onto the portals. Now, at the moment, you may not choose to go to portal because you've got an incredible price and you think it's time to cash it in. But if you've said it, make sure you know how to have the conversation around it, because they're looking for that response and offer. Our wins would be detailed offering, early offers, fresh eyeballs to give us that buyers competing. But buyers competing now could be one against you. It's not 10 or 15 like we've seen. A lot of those people don't have a real reason for moving. They haven't done their paperwork. They're not in a position to do it. But the real people that are out there now, the buyer we're working with, is who we're excited about. Challenges, a below standard offering, low offers, wrong audience, not sold. Now, I don't know if many of you are using that sequence, but I think that is a perfect, short, sharp plan if you've done the tour to bring that all together. You've seen that before, but I hope you live up to what you're saying within that. Okay, number 2, confirm and sign off on your selling process, all milestone steps and actions, and detailed listed to settled checklist. Now, some of you have become really good at this, and I know you're using your process maps, but from our previous conversations about how you compartmentalize what you do, and now this one's an admin and sales one, but make sure you're clear on that process and where the property's tracking right through to the end. This is a really good time to become strong in vendor management. And remember, if you're using that prop that you're showing the owner, this is all the work that we do prior to the property going on the market. Now, this is the same thing, but the owner's view. But I've had a lot of people ask me about this particular prop of late, because they are showing the owner we're working harder than ever to get a result for you. And then in another session, I did ask you to just do your milestones of how you're selling a home. And again, from my work, you'll remember that we have horizontal and vertical management. And when the property actually goes through that little checklist there, you know exactly where you are within that time. Okay. Number 3, build credits in the emotional bank account. Every one of us, as soon as we start with the owner, we start at naught. You do something good, you get a credit. You do something wonderful, you get another credit. You do something wrong, you get a debit. And it happens with all of us. You know, if this whole thing went wrong right now and suddenly the whole Zoom dropped out, you go, but hang on, Lee usually does a good job. He's on location and we'll give him that benefit. No different for you. You know, oh, this has happened today, but, you know, Greg and Rosie have done everything they've said they were going to do. We'll give them that credit. How many credits do you have in your emotional bank account is another great tip in these changing markets. Number 4, provide the owner with a detailed calendar of events. Now, this is in your pitch presentations. We get a printed version of that so they can see. It's on their fridge. So they know when everything's happening, because that is the project management rollout that you need to go through. Number 5, continuous reporting. Reporting brings clarity and understanding. Now, reporting can be a quick voice note, a quick video note. Hi, Helen, just letting you know, Rosie called me back again, wants to come through on Friday. We'll let you know the time. That's reporting. It doesn't have to be a graph and how many inspections we've got. That's one type of report, but fast reports are the best report. And those little video snapshots straight down your phone are so powerful. Okay, number 6, build a list of blended communications that trigger and inform your next steps. So blended communications. I might send an email saying, this is what we're doing coming up. I might send a text message saying, just letting you know, this has happened, contracts have exchanged. Then I've got my video message. Blended communication is important because each person takes the information differently. But I'll give you a tip on this one. If you're doing a very good detailed vendor report at the moment that you need a decision on, shoot that over or share that with them as a text. So you might have the report as a PDF or a document, share that and say, hi, Helen, could you please review this report and give me a call back as soon as possible? And what you're saying is read the report. Then I can have my conversation that I need to have with you. Hi, Helen, could you please read this report and give me a call back as soon as possible? And put some work back on them that they have to be part of this as well. And that's why I love, hi, Helen, just letting you know, contracts for the sale of your property at William Street have just been exchanged. Congratulations, speak soon. Now, there's nothing better than a phone call, but send that to warm up the data, because as you know, you go to make a phone call and you don't get a connection straight away in this new world that we live in. But these little text messages should be little templates that you're using, because a well-informed owner is easy to manage. Okay, number 7, price consistency. Provide real-time CMAs of competing properties and who bought them. This is so important. They drive past a property sold in your area, and First National's just sold a property. And they go, First National sold a property. Why haven't I got mine sold? Yet the buyer who bought it was a buyer that went through your owner's property, but we haven't connected the dots on that. So, hi, Helen. I just noticed that 17 Musgrave Street has been sold. The purchaser they visited your home on, and you can see from this report the surrounding sales, but picking that one up at $35,000 less ended up being their decision, versus they think the other company is better than Elders. That is not what we are after in that situation. Number 8, making calls that count, connect, and navigate reverse engineered emails. Now, if I haven't shown you this one before, I'll do it in a moment, but let me just come back on screen. Okay, so a reverse engineered email, very important technique. I hope you know what it is. If you don't, I'm going to tell you. You prepare an email that's a one-off serious conversation with that owner who's been through results, feedback, negative, positive, and there's a whole group of headings that you use to go through that. But what you do is ring the owner and have this conversation where you're saying, hi, Helen, I just want to let you know we've had 76, and you're reading from the email, by the way, 76 groups through. The pricing, we've had 3 people offer at 510, 520, 530, and you're doing this on a phone call, and you go right through the whole thing. And then you say to the owner, we've covered a lot of information. I'll put this into a report for you and send it through. And give yourself 5 or 10 minutes and then send that email through. And when they receive that, that's exactly what you said on the phone when their partner or whoever comes home and says, so how are we going? Have we heard from the agent today? Yes, we have heard from the agent. What did he say? This. And it's a very structured way. I'll give you, if you want to write this down, the technique's called getting to yes. And getting to yes doesn't just happen by itself. That's why we're in a skills-based marketing market right now. I want to bring up a past story for you that was really important. I've been a sales team just like yours, and 2 of the agents would be killing each other in the office somewhere. Not hard to find that. And I'd go up and I go, what's going on? They go, oh, I've got this great offer on Greg's place, and Greg's owners won't take it, and Greg won't take it up to him. He thinks it's a good offer as well. I think he's on title. And anyway, the property's not going ahead. And suddenly I'd say to the 2 agents, I'd say, so you all going to walk away from this one? They go, yeah, the owner's not going to take it and the buyer won't come up any further. Okay, so we're in the grand final. I just want to be clear, both of you are prepared to walk away from this and go and find another buyer back out in the normal games. Yep, that's what's going to happen. That's all right. If I can pull this together, how much do I get? 20%, 30%? And they go, oh, what do you mean 20%? They go, well, you're both about to walk away. So if I can pull it together, what do I get? And quite often they go, all right, we'll give you 20%. That sounds fair. And I would go in and I would sit with the owner and say, hi, Helen, Lee here from senior management for the last 20 minutes. Just want to chat through this property opportunity that's available to you. The 2 agents have worked incredibly hard on the property. And my job is to make sure you understand where the property is at the moment. Unfortunately, on a management level, we see an owner say no to an offer and then only to find out that they sell later on for 30, 40,000 less than we could have had in the first instance, which is what I feel we have now. So my job is to make sure we have clarity around the offer. I want to go through the reporting with you. And I'm also going back to the buyer today to see if there's anything more that they can pay. And where we are now with this offer is here. If we can't get any more further through, what would be acceptable for you to release the asset? Anyway, I'd spend 40 minutes with the owners. Then I'd reach out to the purchaser, do the same angle, and you'd marry the thing up because you're looking for cracks. But quite often as agents, we think, nah, and then suddenly, nah, and we're going to go walk out and we run off the grand final at half time and we don't play the second half. Don't do that. And I'll tell you a really important technique that a lot of people don't like, but it's a very important technique. The reason I could stitch those together is not because me and I'm incredible. It's actually the opposite. The technique's called a different voice. And sometimes you've been speaking to the owner so long. In my case, I've been speaking to the owner too long, and I would send somebody else in with a different voice to go and have a chat with an owner that I can't have. I'm too emotionally involved. I'm there. I know the kids. I told them we're going to get this prize. I'm the world's worst person to have the conversation. Yet I could send in Charles, Josh, or Andrew, and especially if they've got the offer, that they've got quite a conviction about them, and the owner accepts the offer. But using a different voice is so powerful in this little way that we're working right now. Let me share my screen again, and we'll continue on with these final points. Okay, everyone can see my screen, all good. So that was number 8, making calls that connect, count, connect, and navigate, and use the reverse engineered email technique. I remember learning reverse engineered emails and thinking, yeah, that wouldn't work. And then I did it once because I was always curious to say, well, okay, maybe I don't know it all. No one does. I'll give it a go. And the impact was phenomenal. And when an owner starts to see that difference of a structured business case study that they should be considering, I think they see you as a better professional versus you're just the agent who wants your commission. You just want me to accept the offer because you're not trying hard enough. And by the way, I'll explain this the best I can. An owner quite often says no to an offer, not because it's not a good offer, but they haven't seen you sweat yet. You know, you sign it up, you're invisible, you showed a couple of people through, and then you got this record price that you think's amazing, but they didn't see you make the phone calls. They didn't see you do the promotions and they can't see you because most of the work you do is invisible, and you've got to make the invisible visible. That's why you let them know you're doing a just listed campaign. That's why you let them know you're sending a text out to 35 buyers who are in a position to buy. And it makes such a difference if you connect the owner to your efforts, but they'll quite often say no because you haven't even worked up a sweat yet. That's why you've got to keep them informed. Okay, number 9, use a digital and transparent notification offer system. Now, you guys have the platform. I know not all of you have engaged to learn it yet. You're coming through the ranks. I know Kaylin's been doing some work with your team, but if you need any private training, reach out. But I want to explain why this one works so much. And I'm going to ask someone to answer this question for me. Anyone brave would be wonderful. Why, in technique, does a digital offer management system with transparency have the incredible breakthroughs that we're seeing in the marketplace right now? Why is it? There's actually a science to it. Does anyone know what it is?
Is it because it's coming direct from the buyer? It's not coming
Yes,
through the agent?
Lisa, that is correct. It's coming direct from the buyer, which means they actually exist. That is one part of it. A very important part. And thank you for saying that. But there's another part to it. That is a really important technique. And once you learn this as a sales professional, you're like, what have I been doing?
Gives people time to think.
Okay, there's a breathing time in there because, an action's happened and so forth. But I'll give you the answer. No one can get angry at a system. You can get angry at an agent. We've all done it. You've gone to the owner with an offer and they go, I can't even believe you're telling me that number. And yet by law, we have to tell them the number. But because we are delivering the message and they want to kill the messenger, you can get cranky at an agent, really easy. But you can't get cranky at an iPhone. When an iPhone says to you, bidder number 5 has raised their bid to 720 and the owner wants 950, you can't get cranky at that. It's just someone, and Lisa said this beautifully, the buyers put in their 2 bobs worth of what they're prepared to pay. And by the way, thank you for that. We'd rather have that than nothing. and the system has notified the owner. That's why the digital management office system is so good. You know, I was up in Byron Bay not so long ago, and Rob and I were checking out this caravan park we hadn't been into. Thought, oh, this could be a good place to stay. And went to the reception, and we said to the lady, if we want to stay here in August, what are the costs? She goes, oh, can't tell you that. We have an automated algorithm pricing system that based on the day and time will tell you the fee. And you're like, so you can rip us off as much as you like. Yes, we can. Well, not me, it's the algorithm. So I can't get cranky at the algorithm because it'll say based on today's date, we can charge what we like and we've got to pay that rate. That's okay. But if she said she charged me that rate, that's different. So no one can get angry at a system is a really important skill and why I want you learning that offer management system so much. And I think once you see the interview with Paul McAllister, that will be a game changer for you. Okay, number 10. Don't be afraid to create a detailed everything email that steps out every movement of the property progress and the consultancy advice. Now, the everything email is a technique and it's in your manuals from the Complete Salesperson course, but it pretty much looks like this. You're putting in all the detail, what we've achieved, how many people through. You're also talking about the buyers and what their stages of their offers were and that now they're no longer there. Comments, what would it take to improve the property? Your recommendation of what you would need to do to get a better price than where we are. And basically you're building up a business case study that says, we'd have to spend another 40 grand to get you another 20, which technically means we're better off being where we are right now with our offer. Because to increase value, we must increase value. Otherwise, it's not going to sell. And I think that's such an important part of why we have a real estate purchasing site for all methods. Your QR code becomes that instantaneous offer management system that you can get people to make an offer now. It automatically notifies everyone so you can't get cranky at a system. Digital contract exchanges aren't a big thing in your area and direct deposits, I know, but they are going on around the country. The automatic digital compliance log, but basically a future listing stream was the reason I wanted you on sell and why we're moving that way into the future. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the lovely conclusion. But before we do that, can you give me any key learnings that stuck in your mind from today from the chat? And I need you to do it if you could, because it's important to me to know that something stuck out. Apart from that, I'm writing a book at the moment, and these recordings are all part of that research. But what stuck out from you today as something that you could bring into your game as either an action or something that you feel is a technique that you could use? In the chat, go for it. Reverse engineer emails, thank you. Greatest technique in the world. I love the 80% area in the home. Make the invisible value visible, and that's on your efforts. Can't get angry at a system. Woo, team going off here. This is good. What else we got? Look into the timed auctions. Adam, so true. Timed auctions are the future of selling real estate. The buyers love it. The vendor gets notified. We've got this option of privacy. There is so many good things about it. Please book a one-on-one for us to do that with you and get you. Learn it before you need it. That's my thing there. Well-informed owners are easy to manage. This is going good. What else we got? Any others? I'm getting excited here as I'm standing here at Century Cove. Okay, good ones. Reporting by text and continuous updates. Gee, absolutely brilliant. Thinking in sequence. So I need to have this conversation with the owner. I'm going to send this text, this video note, and then I'm going to ring. So absolutely great key learnings. Elders, wonderful to work with you. I'm looking forward to coming back in-house whenever that is. Rob will let me know. But have a wonderful day. You guys are prepped for this market. Enjoy it. And last thing, put your fees up. Good time for you to get a pay increase for the incredible work you do. But thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.